Hi guys, my name is Olivia Gonzalez and I'm here with Raymond Yoon,
Hello.
and we are both members of Phi Theta Kappa at Bergen Community College. We are here to talk to you today about tips for managing online classes. We understand a lot of students may not have ever taken an online class before, and we just want to give you some advice and some tips that might help you manage the rest of the semester. So to start, we just wanted to introduce ourselves. Raymond, you can go first.
Hello, my name is Raymond Yoon. I am an honors student at Bergen Community College. I am currently a new member as the Director of Recruitment for Phi Theta Kappa. And I was also homeschooled online throughout high school and hope to share tips and tricks that helped me succeed in my high school career.
And I am Olivia Gonzalez, as I mentioned, and I am in my last semester at Bergen Community College. I am a new member to Phi Theta Kappa, and I'm on the communications team as the co-editor for the newsletter. I was also homeschooled virtually throughout high school, and we were actually homeschooled through the same program. And we hope that these tips will help you through the rest of your online semester. So I'm going to be moving myself so that don't get in the way. So our first tip is to follow a daily routine. So I know when everyone had classes to go to, they would set an alarm, hopefully with enough time to get to class on time. Now, even though we're not going to class, it is important to still set that alarm to wake up at the same time every morning. This will train your mind to be ready to learn every day, and it just allows you to refresh your brain and gets you going in the morning. And with waking up, it is also important to set a time or to think of a time to go to sleep. You want to make sure that you're going to sleep a little earlier because you do want to give your body enough time to recharge, to not be tired in the morning. I know I myself start to unwind around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I turn my phone off, I'll read a book, and just allow my body to relax and hope to fall asleep in the following 30 to 60 minutes. So Raymond, do you have
Yes,
anything to say about that?
yes, you have to sleep early. Sleeping early is very good for you because sometimes you realize that you have a lot of things to do and you end up staying up the whole night, and that just kills your brain and your physical body entirely. And so sleeping early allows you to recharge that fatigue that you just had during that day, so that way you can wake up with a new fresh mind and you would be more happier, actually, in fact. So make sure you sleep early, guys. Make sure.
Yeah. And also sticking to that schedule allows your body to know when it's time to learn and when it's time to relax, which is very important.
Very important.
Good. So our second tip is to set alarms to focus. Raymond, do you want to elaborate on this a little bit?
Yes. Set an alarm for classes. This is very important because just because you're at home now doesn't mean that you have all this free time, to be honest. You still have classes to attend to, and you don't want to miss out on them. And so making an alarm will allow you to remind yourself. It's like, hey, I have a class at this time. I shouldn't miss it. So, bam, right? And and setting an alarm for classes is good, but you also want to set an alarm for studying. This is especially important because just because your class is over doesn't mean the rest of your day is over too. You have to study what you just went over. You have to have time for homework, right? And if you don't set an alarm and you just trust fully on your mind, then you're probably not going to do it because your mind can be like, hey, I could probably do this tomorrow. I have time, right? No, don't do that. Um, so setting an alarm for studying is really good. And you also want to set an alarm for quick breaks. Overstudying is never good. Overstudying will only, complicate your mind. You want to process what you just learned. You want to process that. Take some time off, right? And then come back to it later. So give yourself at least like a 2-3 minute break in between before you go back to study.
Yeah. And to just go back to studying for a second, you really want to make sure that you're still treating the tests that the professors give you as if they're in-class tests. So you don't want to just not study. You want to make sure that you are studying and you are preparing for these tests that they are giving out. Good. And then our next tip is to write out a schedule and stick to it. So we have a few examples about these schedules that we'll be showing in the next slides. Our first tip for writing out a schedule is to make a master syllabus for your classes. So I know in the beginning of the semester, the professors usually hand out a paper syllabus or an online syllabus, and it has all the major assignments that are due throughout the semester. It's really helpful if you take all those big assignments and you put them on one big spreadsheet. So you see all your classes, all your assignments, and you can plan them out in order of due date. So you don't get stressed out about one, or you don't miss one, or you don't cram for another one. And then another important thing to do by week is to block out your schedule week by week. So this will help you visualize exactly how much time you have in your day, and it also help you visualize how your week should go. And then something to do every day is to prioritize. So you want to make sure that you take 1 or 2 assignments that need to get done by the end of the day. I know I do it the night before. So the night before, I'll make a list in my phone. It's only 1 or 2 things that I do, sometimes even just 1. So then the next day when I wake up, I have the intention of knowing what I'm going to get done before I go to sleep that night. So Raymond, do you do that too?
Yes, this is very important. So it just practically make a to-do list, all right? And make a to-do list because, as you know, you can't really trust your brain when it comes to online classes because your online class, because your brain can be like, oh, you know, I have a homework that's due next week, or I got like a 5-page essay that's due in 2 weeks later, right? But you know, if you just keep telling yourself that and be like, oh, I still have time, I could do this tomorrow. Well, guess what? You're probably going to find yourself in a position where your 5-page essay is due tomorrow. And it's like, oh, snap, I haven't even started yet.
Yeah.
So that's not going to work well for you.
Yes.
So you want to make sure you prioritize everything that is due for that day and be like, hey, I'm going to get this done today. So you have that finished. And then that way you can move on to the next step.
Exactly. Good. And then let's look at some examples. So we have the master syllabus. So as you can see here, there's the subject written down. So it's math, physics, bio, whatever, and then the assignment that you have to do. So that could be an end of the semester assignment. It could be, you know, a test, whatever you have to do. And then you could put the status of whether you've worked on it, whether you've started it, or whether it's totally complete and done. You want to put how much time, realistically, put how much time you think you've done or will need to complete it. And then when you start, and then when the due date actually is. So that will give you a visual of how your week will go or how that month needs to go. So that, and this one you can see it's done per week. So that if you have an assignment due at the end of the month, you can see exactly how much time you should be spending on it per week. And then another, this is the block schedule. So as you can see, every color stands for a different subject or a different event. Like the bright blue at the top is the home workouts. And then the purple is the essay. And then when you have big exams or a paper due or a deadline that you need to pay attention to, it's in bright red or bright orange so that so it stands out when you look at it so you don't forget about it. Then you can see how your day goes. So you can see the white spots where you have breaks, you know, and it helps to reassure you and it helps to calm any anxieties you may have. It helps to, I know I use this system and I feel very structured and I'm like, okay, so from, you know, 3 to 4, I have a break. So I can, you know, cook myself dinner or whatever. And then it's also important to schedule fun things into your schedule. So like this, we have movie night with friends. You don't want to just be scheduling the school stuff, the, you know, to-do stuff. You want to schedule to make sure that you're making enough time to hang out with your friends, although not right now, maybe virtually. But you do want to make sure that you're having enough time to have that social aspect in your schedule, right?
Yes, and also if I may jump in, I really love how she has this entire schedule laid out because not only is it very simple and it's easy to look at, but it's not that crowded. Because if you overcrowd your schedule, you'll only be more overwhelmed
Yes.
of the things that you have to do, and you're probably not going to end up doing them at all. it's going to give the opposite effect. So make sure you have them, completely planned out one by one, simple, right? And very organized, neat, exactly how this schedule is laid out. And make sure you have your breaks in between, because if you just plan like 5, 6, 7 assignments on a single day, are you finish all of them? Probably not. So you want to make sure everything's laid out like this.
Perfect. Okay, and then our tip number 4 is to schedule breaks and don't burn out. Raymond, do you want to talk about not burning out?
Yep. Of course. Allow time for breaks. Allow time for breaks, okay? Do at least a 15 to 20-minute break throughout your day, a time to recover, a time to know what you just gathered, and a time to relax. Because this is important, since if you just keep working, studying every hour by the hour and nonstop, right, then you're just messing up your brain really much. It's only get worse for you. Your anxiety is gonna pile up. You're gonna be more overwhelmed. You have things to do, and everything has a deadline, and it's like, what am I gonna do, right? So you you want time for breaks. It allows you to refuel your brain. So either make some snacks or take time to relax. Do something you enjoy, like walking outside, go watch a movie if you want, right? Or play a game, whatever that helps you, right? So make sure you don't burn out, because not allowing breaks is just going to overwork your brain. It's not good for you.
Exactly. Good. And then this is my favorite slide. My favorite tip is to set early deadlines. So the way that I see it, the earlier you set a deadline from the actual deadline, the better. You want to stay ahead of your classes. We're all home now. We all have a lot of time, but I know some people are still taking a lot of classes. And so those end of the semester assignments, for every class, at some point, they're all going to pile up into 1 week. And you want to make sure that you're not having to do 7 assignments in 1 week, because that's so stressful. So if you're able to plan it earlier, so that you can get, one assignment done this week, another assignment done the next week, and then so that you're having time to stay ahead of your classes, and then also having time to work more efficiently. So by challenging yourself to set these early deadlines, you're pushing yourself to not only get it done earlier, but also to work more efficiently, because you're focusing more on that assignment, allowing yourself extra time also in case you need it. So if I have an assignment due on Friday, I'll try to make sure to get it done by Wednesday. And then if I need that extra day, I'll take it. But if not, then I've just gotten an assignment done and I've really focused on what I've done. Raymond, do you have anything to say?
Yes. So like, as you mentioned, you want to challenge yourself with these type of things, because, if you only follow by the deadline that it's given to you, then you're probably going to have more and more assignments coming up later on, and that's when you're going to be piled up, right? And you're going to have more assignments that's due on that same deadline. So if you're able to make earlier deadlines and finish it by that deadline you set, then now you have more room and space to do your other assignments. Think about it.
Exactly. With that being said, though, you don't want to create impossible deadlines. So you really want to be realistic with your work. If you're still having to go to work, or you're working from home and managing these classes, you really want to be aware of your time and just managing it in a sense that you don't create a more stressful environment. So if I have a 5-page paper due in 2 weeks, getting it done in 3 days is not realistic to me, because then I'll have another week and a half to work on it. Whereas if I plan to work on it slowly and get it done in a week and a half, then I'll have a few extra days if I need, but I'm also allowing myself more time in my overall schedule to make sure that it's getting done in a reasonable and realistic amount of time.
Yes,
So.
This is also very important, because if you create impossible deadlines, then you have all this energy, all this what's the correct term? Well, anyways, you'll have a lot of energy to work on this specific assignment, but you realize that you gave yourself like a 2-3 day deadline for a 5-page paper, and the moment that 3 days is over, you're just like, oh snap, right? I just didn't complete my deadline or my assignment or really did much about it. And so that will only make you lose the energy to keep going.
Right.
Instead, it's going to have an opposite effect on you.
Right.
So you want to be very realistic with it. You know, give yourself enough time to complete something, but set it a bit earlier than the actual given date.
An actual deadline. Exactly. Good. And then, good. Our next tip is to stay clean and organized. Let me move myself so that you can see the last tip.
Stay clean and organized, guys. You want to stay clean and organized. You want to declutter your desk, remove all the distractions that you have on it, like gaming systems, you know, fun little books or comics, or like any sorts of, you know, figures or whatever that's gonna move your eye somewhere else, right? Like you want to focus on what needs to be done in order to go through with this. And not only that, you want to have your materials ready with you, okay? This is an online class now. You're at home. Everything should be where it is, right? It's not one of those, oh, I forgot my notebook at home kind of deal, right? Because you have it there. You're at home, right? So you know, if you have like a math class coming up, then what you could do is, you know, have your math notebook, your folder, your pen and pencil with you, right? And just leave it on the side of the desk. When the time comes, you just, hey, you bring it up, I'm ready, right? And this will allow you to keep track of everything you have, and you'll feel more happy about yourself, to be honest. Instead of like rushing through your bag or whatever, it's, oh, where's my notebook, right? No, don't do that.
Be more prepared.
Be more prepared, right? And you also want to have clear notes, okay? Just because you're at home doesn't mean that you can go messy handwriting because no one's going to see you, you know, write your notes or whatever. No, that's not it. Because now that you're at home, you're going to need to write clear notes to understand what you just learned. Your professor's not there with you anymore, right? You're not in that class. You can't really ask these questions and have your professor show them to you. Or maybe some students, they don't even have professors to show them to you. They just have assignments given to you, right? And so with that, it's like, how are you going to learn? You have to, this is teaching yourself now. You're practically teaching yourself. You want to write notes that you can read and understand, so that way you could refer it back to it later.
Yes, exactly. Good. Good. And then lastly, our last tip is probably the most important. You want to keep in contact with your professors. So everyone should have a working school email, and everyone should also have access to Moodle. If you don't know how to access Moodle, I think you can access the tech help to figure it out and to have them help you. But you do want to make sure to access your school email and Moodle multiple times a day, because that's how your professors get in contact with you. And you really don't want to be missing out on assignments just because you didn't check your email. If you do get an email or you get a posting of an assignment and you have questions or concerns or you need clarification, email your professors. I can't tell you how many times I've done that and just probably reworded the question or the assignment to make sure that I'm understanding it properly, because there's no worse feeling than doing an entire assignment and then finding out you did it wrong. And you don't want to put in that situation, because that's just so much more stressful environment for you to be working in, and we want to avoid that. And then also, if you keep in contact with your professors, having a positive communication with your professors is so good for you and improving in the class. You'll be more interested in the class. You'll be more engaged during the virtual lectures. You'll be more encouraged to show up for the virtual lectures and do the assignments early. And it just really helps to have that good source of communication with your professors. Raymond, do you have any input?
This is what your professors actually want. They want their students to interact. They want their students to ask questions. They want their students to, you know, be involved as much as possible, especially during this type of situation, because, you know, seeing their students interact with them allows them to know who actually cares and who is actually trying to learn, right? During this situation that we're all in right now.
Right.
So not only that will help improve your relationship with your professors, but that will also allow you to learn better, actually.
Right.
So you will get much more out of it than you think you will.
Right. And it's also important to remember that, this is a new system that we're all experiencing from students, but it's also a really new system for all our professors. So if you do go back and forth with your professor, don't feel like you're bothering them because you have multiple questions, because they might have multiple questions. Also, we're all kind of figuring this out together. And as long as we all keep in contact with each other, then we should get through this smoothly.
Yes, yes.
So those are our tips. We hope that they've helped. And if you have any questions, please feel free to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.